Black Oni.
This is Solid Snake, and you are now listening to the Black Oni Podcast. So pay some damn attention. Damn.
And we are live, everyone. Welcome to, well, everyone's frozen right now, though. Hold on. Let's see if we can fix that.
We're not frozen anymore.
Okay, good. All right. So welcome to today's show, everyone. It feels good to be back here doing this podcast. I'm really excited for today's episode for so many reasons. But before we get to all those reasons, I want to give some shout out to people who are chatting right now in the live section. So it's going to be available on Spotify and all the other podcasting apps, as well as YouTube and all that good stuff. So for anyone who's missing it now, you'll be able to hear it later. But with that said, shout out to Always Lozing, Arctic Wolf, Nightmare Gorilla, and everyone else who's lurking. I don't want to say any names of anyone lurking, I know the whole point is for you to not. So beyond that, I wanted to formally introduce our two other guests on today's show. So one is someone you've seen before on the Black Oni Podcast many a times, which is TheAudioLover.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's TheAudioLover. How y'all doing? Just a living organism, vibrantly expressing reality. A YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, a personality broadcaster. I like my PS5 video games as well as a couple of other games as well, and looking forward to talking everything Stargate with you guys on Twitter.
Yes, I saw your banner had Stargate on it too, so I was like, all right, he knows what's up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think y'all gonna get along just fine. And where can people go to find your content?
Yeah, so you can find me everywhere at TheAudioLover. That is on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, specifically YouTube and Twitter. You're going to definitely find me heavily on there. I dip and dabble on Twitch from time to time. I'm trying to get my presence a little bit more known on that as well. So definitely there.
Yes, make sure you all go follow him if you haven't already done so. He's an awesome content creator and someone who always brings a heat when it comes to these conversations when we have on the podcast. So I'm excited to have him here. And our special guest of honor, Cypher of Tear. Tell us a little bit about you and where people can find you.
You can find me everywhere as Cypher of Tear, CYPHEROFTYR. My channel on the D&D official channel for Black Dice Society on Thursday nights. And over on Rivals Waterdeep, we come back for our 13th season on May 29th at 12 p.m. Central.
Excellent, excellent. And once again, make sure you go follow Tanya, Cypher of Tear, as well. Known her for a long time. And I think this is the first time we've had her on the podcast. We've done other stuff together before, but haven't had you on the podcast, if I remember correctly, right?
No, this is the first time.
First time. Hopefully we'll see you again here as well. But, this is exciting because it's the 100th episode. It's the first time we're trying out a new format, which is focusing less on just gaming and more on general life, whether it's updates on things that are going on with our lives or issues that are going on with the world, things like the war in Ukraine and the recent Roe v. It's been really
Roe v. Wade?
Yes. Roe v. Wade. It's been really weird lately because I feel like all this stuff is just happening at once. And
yeah.
I can't even keep up with my own. I can't keep up with everything for real. With gaming, life, and just technology and all the things that are going on, it's just a lot. So as we go into our interview, I wanted to ask a question, which is our icebreaker. Okay. And I wanted to know from from everyone actually in chat, but as well as from y'all two, what your favorite podcast to listen to is and why. And And I see you got something here already, so maybe we should start with you, Tanya.
Oh, sure. I was just like, are we going to do the Midwestern polite thing where we go, you, no, you, no, you? My friend Eugenio Vargas has a D&D podcast called D&D The Last Refuge. I'm terribly behind. Forgive me, Eugenio, if you're watching. But he's such a great storyteller, and you can tell everyone is friends and they have fun together.
Yeah.
So it's good. And it's like you would think I'd be tired of D&D with as much as I have to do it as a job.
Yeah.
But you know, when someone's a good storyteller and everyone's having a good time, it's always fun to listen.
Yeah, I agree. And that is something that I try to be careful of when it comes to like games in general. It's like streaming and then like playing on my own and then like playing with my wife. I don't want to get tired of either of those things because it can happen pretty easily. Like, all right, I've been playing literally all day for 9 hours. Gonna go play some more after.
Nah. I have to have a cutoff. I gotta have a cutoff.
Yeah. What's your cutoff hour? How many is it before you're like, all right, I'm done?
It depends on the game. It
Okay.
really does. Like, cause I have one VOD where I played The Sims for like 9 hours, and then later I was like, how did 9 hours get away from me? Okay, I guess I was feeling The Sims that day, and here we are.
Yeah. What about you, Audio Lover? What is your cutoff time for streaming, and then what is your answer to the podcast question?
Oh, my cutoff hour for streaming is like three hours.
Okay.
That's all you're getting from me, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I could go more, but like, I got the kids and just there's so much things going on. So it's like I could never do more than 3 and the kids not say they're hungry. I have to feed them.
Yeah.
Or I just got to do other things in the house or whatever. So like that 3 is like max. Like that's me pushing it for real.
Yeah.
As far as the podcast question, I don't listen to podcasts that much, but when I do, there are like 2 that I really go to a lot. One is the African Folk Tales podcast.
Okay.
And that one's just like me, like really trying to learn more about, African roots and things like that. The other
That's cool.
is 3 Black Halflings, which is a podcast about the Ouagadougou Chronicles. It's a 3-person podcast, and they basically do a D&D setting for the Ouagadougou Chronicles. It's something that I recently did my Kickstarter for, or
Donated for it. Yeah.
donated. There we go. That's the
Yeah.
word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Donated to Kickstarter
Or
for it, and
pledged,
then
that's what it was, yeah.
pledged. Thank you. Words escape me.
Yeah.
But words are hard.
Hey, listen, I'm about to grab some wine tonight, so I'm words are gonna be real hard in about 15
Words are hard.
minutes.
No, but yeah, that's one that like, because I never done D&D,
Yeah.
so I have no clue. But just because it was based on African folklore and those kinds of things, and I've really been more into, because of my Haitian background, just wanting to know more about Western Africa and then our lineage and the Voodoo and the Orisha, all that stuff. So I listen to that that's why I listen to those 2 mainly.
Okay. That's cool. For me, my cutoff time for streaming, so I have to stream a lot in general. So mine is kind of like after the 7th hour of streaming, mostly I'm just like, all right, I've not only had to eat twice during the stream, but like I'm also tired. Like around that time, I'm like, it's time to just stop.
So I commend you both for doing, like, anyone who's able to do those long streams, those long 7-9 hours and
Yeah.
12 hours, 24 hours.
Oh no,
like,
12
okay.
can't do 12 no more.
Yeah, 12 is
No.
pushing it.
Yeah, I'll see some people where it's like, you ever had the one streamer where it's like, you get up and they're on, and then you're like, okay, I'm about to go hit this hay, I'm about to go do whatever, and they're still on. And I'm like, how have you not moved from this chair?
I got a couple of friends like that.
That used to be me.
I know.
That was you.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be on late at night, I'd get up and you're still on, and I'm like, Oni, what you doing?
Let me tell you something. I used to get sick sometimes because like I was just up too late before going to work. So like I would have to get up at 7 or 8 o'clock depending on the day, but I wouldn't have gone to bed until 2 a.m. the day before. So like I used to do that all the time. And like when I had the full-time job, which we'll talk about some like, you know, life job stuff later, I was just burning out so hard. And advice for anyone trying to get into streaming, just pace yourself, please. Please.
Yep, because you can't get them hours back.
No, you can't. Cannot. But I'm excited for these next hours because we get to immerse ourselves in learning a whole bunch of things about you, Tanya. A lot of this stuff, I know some of it.
No.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. And I assume that people watching also are curious about some of this stuff too. So,
No.
I'm curious about one thing in particular, and I'm kind of mad at you about it, Oni. So we're gonna touch base. Yeah.
We just started. How you been already?
I have my reasons.
Yeah. Do you want to be the one to ask the question then?
No.
You should.
When the question comes around, we could ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, I just got into D&D, like just being about it.
Yeah.
And then specifically, you know, with more people of our skin complexion, you know, with the melanin.
That melanin, you know.
So I found out a particular someone was doing a Kickstarter, but you know, and then one of my friends were involved in that Kickstarter.
I see where this is going.
But this is during the time, I don't know if you remember, Oni, when I said, you know, I left the internet because I was studying.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't know a Kickstarter was even happening.
Well, in my defense,
I'm gonna just sit here with my Canada Dry.
Hashtag not sponsored yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because I would have definitely supported.
You know, there'll be opportunities. I think. You know, once.
I hope.
I can't say nothing because I don't know nothing, but maybe you know, there's more to tell. Cypher P.
Okay. You want to just talk about? You just want to talk about Motherlands now or later?
And I like sci-fi.
Yes, you do. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it as like a follow-up to one of the other questions.
Okay.
All right. So let's start. Let's bring it back, and let's start all the way from the basically the very beginning.
Oh my God.
Tanya, what is your favorite game or game genre, and then how does that contrast to the first game or genre that you were like obsessed with, like growing up playing games?
Well, for me, it's RPGs, like Western RPGs. I like JRPGs, but I've always been more of like a Western RPG person, and not like spaghetti Western, like, you know, made it outside of Japan Western.
Yeah.
Because I like long form narrative. I like games where I can go back and get different outcomes. And I know it's gonna be a fight. People on the internet feel a way about it, but my favorite game ever is Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
Well, because it's one of the few games where narratively the NPCs have their own lives.
Yeah.
They're not always like just chilling wherever you leave them, waiting for Hawk to come back. Like when you walk around with them, they talk about stuff they've done without you. They like go have card nights, they go date, they go do whatever. They're just like, deuces, I ain't waiting for Hawk all day.
Exactly. You know, I never you're gonna hate me for this. I think I told you this and I said I would fix it, but I never played Dragon Age 2.
I won't hate you.
Well,
I've never played it either. I live vicariously through you when I watch you play Inquisition.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be lurking in there just watching you play Inquisition or The Witcher. But like because I have Inquisition and I've played a little bit of that, and I just feel like there's a lot of like you need a lot of dedication for this game.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about Inquisition. So like,
Oh, Inquisition is like, well, I live here now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I really enjoyed Inquisition. And I say you'll hate me because like I feel bad that I didn't play the second one because I heard the combat wasn't as good, but the story was really good. So
But you know what? That's stuff you got to find for yourself.
yeah.
what did you
So-
play that on? If I would ask.
I played the first two games. Well, I played all of them on PC.
Okay.
I played Inquisition on all three consoles because I'm a nerd. And I actually just reinstalled Inquisition on the PS5 the other day and found a save that I thought was gone. It was in the cloud.
Ooh.
So I went back
Cloud.
and I have like
Yeah.
cloud saved me. I thought the cloud had betrayed me earlier. But yeah, I've got this female elf that I played and I made her for like a charity event. And I was like, oh, let me see where I'm at in the game to see where she is. But now I'm like, I can't romance Dorian with her. I don't like this.
Right. Dorian is
And I don't
pretty
like
amazing.
Sarah.
She's
She's
abrasive.
Sarah's like a self-hating elf, and I'm like, who wrote you?
I do have some fond memories of that game. Do you remember what your first game that you like obsessed over was?
Ooh, probably Street Fighter in the arcade.
Mm.
And or Mortal Kombat, because I remember, like I grew up with the controversy of, oh my god, blood in a video game, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
It's so cartoony.
we were all like that. Like, okay, cool.
I can't really go rip someone's spine out, luckily for many people on the internet. But people are like, oh my god, not blood, and I'm like, whatever, y'all.
Yeah, if only they
Like,
knew how much
like-
worse it's going to get.
Terminator is just ripping people to shreds.
Right, shooting holes in them with shotguns. Yeah, okay. Let's focus on this animated blood in Mortal Kombat. Fine.
Yep.
So, another origin question is about your online handle. Where did that come from?
For those who don't know, I like to say I'm a lapsed Catholic, but I'm also a lapsed Austru. But I follow the Nordic path, and I feel a personal connection to Tyr, who is, in the Nordic lore and faith. He is the god that stops Ragnarok. He sacrifices a hand to the Fenrir wolf, and so he is about rightness and also vengeance because he knows what he's doing and he has to trick the wolf and he loses a hand for it. So I've always been drawn to Tyr, and so I think I play paladins a lot in D&D.
That makes sense.
So-
That's cool. Do you have any family lineage that links to the Nordic?
We have some German, a few probably like great grandmother, and my grandfather's name was Adolf.
Okay.
Yeah, so a black man named Adolf. I can't explain it, but I think when he was born, Adolf may have been an all catch-all name, no matter who you were.
it's like John here, but how many Johns do you know? So many.
Too many.
Yes. Oh, that's so interesting. So how did you talked a little bit about like the first game you obsessed over. How did you find it? How did you kind of stumble upon it or get introduced to it?
Games or Street Fighter in the arcade?
Let's say games in general.
I grew up in the with arcades. I'm old enough to remember ColecoVision, Pac-Man. Okay, what's the game where you're like the dude, almost like Indiana Jones? You're trying to jump over crocodile pits.
Pitfall?
Yes.
Yes, I can. I remember all those both in the arcade and at home. And grew up poor, no shame in it. We were a food stamp household, so didn't have anything in the home. But I spent all my spare quarters in the arcade, and then D&D came along, and I've always been a nerdy, bookish kid, an adult. So D&D and tabletop let me do all the imaginative things that a video game doesn't, because like video games, there's a finite sandbox you can play in. But with pen and paper, you're just like, cool, I've got pen, paper, and dice. I can do whatever I want.
Right. So, okay, this is a different question. It's kind of hard to answer, I feel, but maybe you'll have the answer right away. When is like a memorable moment in D&D where you like broke that barrier of like what you just mentioned? Like, I can literally do anything. Like, what was the memorable or first time you realized you could, like, all right, if I roll high enough, I can do whatever?
Oh, goodness. Well, it didn't end well for me, but in the last long-running game that was well before I did this for a job, I was in a, 5-year-long campaign when 3.5 was out, and I played an elven rogue, and I have no shame in saying I based him off Fenris.
Yeah.
His backstory was kind of like Fenris's. And I was a rogue, and I was trying to basically shimmy out of these manacles because a dragon had caught us in its lair. And if I'd rolled well, that character would still be alive.
Oh no.
Sadly, I did not roll well, and I became Dragon Chow.
Ooh.
And I think that was the first time I lost a character that I played for so long in real time.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my god, what do I do with them? And we didn't have anybody who could do true resurrection or revivify. So I was like, you were dragon food, man. You did well. But I think, and this is more of it was a character development moment in Rivals of Waterdeep. My character's a paladin, and she was an Oath of Vengeance paladin, and she got her revenge, but it was not what she wanted. It was, she took out her target when they were vulnerable and sick and weak. And so she had to learn some hard lessons about herself about, okay, you got your revenge, but now what?
Right. That's tough.
Yeah.
It's also a question that I feel doesn't get addressed as often as it should be. Like in media in general, it's like you're after this path of vengeance. Like, then what?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead, audio.
No, I mean, I was just watching the latest Batman movie, and I was like, really?
Yeah. To what end?
To what end?
Yeah. I mean, Fenris's story has a little bit of that in Dragon Age 2. I mean, without spoiling it, if either of you are going to go play it, Fenris is an elf that joins your party. You can romance him. And his whole thing is he's running away from his slave master. And he finally does get to catch him, and based on your choices, because there are some horrible people in the world who give him back, but you can fight his slave master and kill him. And he's like, okay, well, all right, I killed him, so now what? And you have to kind of deal with that in the game.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's why I love the writing, and people always want to say, "Oh, it's terrible writing. I hate it." And I'm like,
I've heard nothing but good things about the way it was written. It was I just heard people say they didn't like what did they say? They said the combat was button mashy or something. I like action.
If you're playing with a controller, maybe, but that was one of the ones I played strictly on PC. So.
Okay. Gotcha. That's dope. So here's a question that kind of leads into the idea of what you do beyond your streaming and entertainment and gaming. I feel like this question is a little bit out of order, so I'm gonna ask a question before that.
Okay.
What is it that you do aside from your work on D&D and with live streaming and that kind of thing?
So I run a not-for-profit, which is kind of quiet now because pandemic, there's nowhere to go. But we try to help people get in the industry. We try to help people get a foot in the door. Cause I mean, as both of you know, being non-white people in the industry, it's really hard to get your foot in the door, get access to stuff. The other thing I do is a lot of diversity and inclusion consultancy. I've worked with a lot of Ubisoft titles. I worked with a lot of indie titles. Far Cry 6 that just came out. I worked with them. Far Cry New Dawn. I do writing. I'm involved with some projects, and I'm making my own game, which is still weird. It still doesn't seem real until the book's going to be in my hand. And Will did art, and it's going to be on the quick start guide once we are all done with mechanics. And what else do I do? I do crafting. I make dice. I've gotten into 3D printing. That's DJ Knight's fault. And I try to be an okay human on the internet. I don't always make it.
The intent that really matters. Some people don't even try.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about Into the Motherland, since I had the honor of working on that just a little bit. How did that conversation happen? Like, where it was just like, I want to make this thing.
So the actual play came first. I was pitching some stuff to Twitch, and they were like, well, there's already a bunch of D&D shows. There's already a bunch of fantasies. There's all this other stuff. And I want to also try Star Trek, because there is an official Star Trek RPG game. They're weird about IP and worried about that. I'm like, okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what about sci-fi, but tell your own story? I was like, what? What do you mean tell my own story? They're like, tell your own story. So I said, okay, pitch us an idea. How much you think it'll take, how many hours of content you think you can do. And B. Dave Walters and I sat down, we tried to figure out some plot ideas, and we came up with the idea of this other reality, this alternate place where Mansa Musa's descendants found their way to this planet, and 3,000 years before our story takes place, and now they've integrated into the society. So all the humans are Musalians, they're descendants of Mansa Musa, but we have people that are like hyenals, which are like anthropomorphic hyenas, but they are intelligent, they're the smart ones, they're like the Vulcans. We have plant people hybrids, we have all these different cultures and abilities. And, we did the actual play, the first season was great. We pitched and got approved for 2 more seasons, and in the middle of the second season, we were like, we could actually make this into a game. Let's do a Kickstarter. And we did. And it funded in 90 minutes, and I kind of freaked out and ran around my apartment because I thought we would struggle to fund. Because a lot of projects from people of color don't fund, or they struggle to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So, between word of mouth, having the base of the show, we were able to, do 700% of our goal. And, Will is part of that. And, we are at a point of we're just kind of waiting on a yes, no from a publisher. And we're also, this month is it. We're locking mechanics because we were going to use the Cortex RPG system, but let's just say their licensing did not mesh with what we wanted to do, both monetarily and in terms of ownership of the IP. So yeah, we're in one of many home stretches between writing and mechanics.
Yeah. I'm so proud of the work that y'all have done on it. It is, I'm only a very small part of it. I'm the quick start
but
guide
you're
cover.
part of it. Quit saying that.
Yeah. Yes. You're right. But I'm just proud of y'all and proud of us, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
I'm proud of y'all.
See.
I'm proud of y'all.
I appreciate that. I'm going to put the link.
You blushing.
Just a little bit. No, this is that Logitech Stream Cam, so you can see a little more detail in there than you could before. Shout out to Logitech.
Oh my God.
But it's been really cool to kind of see this conceptualize and become so much bigger. So little known fact, the D&D campaign that I'm a part of, we took some weeks off because people were traveling and not going to be home and blah, blah, blah. Our DM like was familiar with your D&D work and familiar with Into the Motherland. And so like, as we were, talking about first starting the campaign and then doing it on Twitch, I mentioned, I was like, yeah, I've been busy working on this quick start cover. Say that 5 times fast. And, I just mentioned offhand, like what I was doing. And then he was like, wait, what? You're working with Tanya? I was like, yeah, like me and her have been friends for a long time. And we've actually, been working on this together. And he just like freaked out because he had no idea that, I knew you, let alone that I was working on this with you. So that was a really cool moment that I never got to tell you about because it was really cool. So he says hello. If I haven't already told you hello on his behalf already, his name's Tom.
Oh, hi, Tom.
But yes, we're going to, I'm just scrolling through the Into the Motherlands thing here so that people can see the website and some of the people.
There's B-Dave.
Yeah. Jasmine.
Yeah, Jasmine, if you like D&D, she does a homebrew show on her own channel called Shakar.
That's what's up. When did I feel like I don't.
Shakar's now in its 2nd season.
Okay, it's like I feel like I've heard of it, but I'm not sure if I have.
It's late for us.
Yeah,
it doesn't even start till 8 Central, so.
Gotcha.
I need to sit up. I'm doing the slump in my chair thing.
It happens. So with regards to that, then, when do you feel, you mentioned your work with I Need Diverse Games and getting more people of color like into the gaming space, as well as, doing consulting. When do you feel like you've noticed at least somewhat of a shift or somewhat of a difference based on the work that you've been doing?
In the industry, it's very slow. It's glacial. But I can't say in like now the 8th year that I've been doing this. Oh my God. Studios are a lot better. They're a lot more proactive. For instance, with Far Cry 6, they came to me at the beginning of the process. The script was done, character art was done, but it wasn't like other projects I'd done where the game was more or less done. And not just Ubisoft, but a lot of indie developers I've worked with where it's like, the game's more or less done. Here, can you basically rubber stamp this and tell us we're not racist, which is not what I do.
Right.
But that's what a lot of people think diversity consulting is. They really do.
Yeah.
And also, and this is going to sound terrible, but just because you're a marginalized person doesn't mean you can be a diversity consultant. But just because you're a diversity consultant doesn't mean that you can speak for every marginalized identity. Because I've had clients that initially they want me to just look at something for like a cis female perspective, a black perspective, a queer perspective. Then they go, but this character's trans. And I'm like, no, not gonna do that. You should go find someone who is trans or disabled or has, like mental health diagnosis that can look at a character, because just because you are marginalized on one axis doesn't mean you can speak for everything. And that's something to be very mindful of in this work. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And more people should be aware of that as well, because it goes with everything. Like, just because you're specialized in this one thing doesn't mean you now speak for everything under that umbrella, or everyone who associates with it.
Well, and even intraracial, I mean, like, we're 3 black folks sitting here. We've all had different things growing up. We're different ages, different, the way we grew up socioeconomically. I grew up in Chicago on the South Side, so I'm going to have a perspective about certain eras in Chicago as someone who went to a public school versus both of you being guys, like being a little younger than me. So that's something to think about too, is that a lot of people just go, well, you're black, this character's black, you can fix it, right? And it's like, maybe not.
Right. And what frustrates me so much about that is that statement that you mentioned, how oftentimes they'll just they'll involve you in the process like after everything's already done, which is like not helpful for actually making the end product better. It's just helpful for getting that like check mark.
Yep, and that's what a lot of people think. And that's what a lot of people just think diversity consulting is. They don't realize that, for instance, with Watch Dogs Legion, I spent a week straight playing that game 8 hours a day. It was work.
Yeah.
But you look at games a whole new way when it's your job.
Right. That's true. We're going to talk about that later too. This is a question that kind of curtails off of everything we've already talked about, actually. Take your favorite game and do something different with it. What would it be?
Ooh, different. Well, for Dragon Age 2, I would remake it and remaster it. Because, I love the game, but it's starting to show its age a little bit. Yeah. But I would definitely remaster it. And there's so much content that got cut. Because I would love to know kind of what happens to these characters before they meet Hawk. There's actually a DLC that got cut for whatever reason. A DLC character that you can bring into your party, Sebastian Vale. Depending on what you choose to do, he threatens to bring an Exalted March, or basically a holy war upon Kirkwall. That DLC never happened. I would love to see what happened with that, especially if it could then really dovetail into Inquisition. Because Inquisition picks up right where DA2 ends. Well, not right after, but like within a year of that, between DA2 and this Inquisition. Yeah. So there's just like kind of depending on your choices, you could bring a holy war to Kirkwall. I would love to see that. And I don't know. I just want to see how this works out, but the writing of this character, and also maybe see some growth, because he's very much a two-dimensional, very religious, has no room for growth. So if that could work out in a DLC and make him realize that vengeance isn't everything, it would be dope to see.
I like that. I would totally be there to see that too, because once I started playing Dragon Age Inquisition, I was like, all right, I get why everyone was telling me to play the previous games before, because this is very immersive. Like I'm in this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, but the first Dragon Age, if you like Baldur's Gate, if you like very crunchy kind of combat tactical, you'll love it. Because there are parts where you're just like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get out of here.
Yeah. I really like that they did a hybrid of the two in Inquisition. And I know some people didn't like that about it, but like I feel like that was like the way to appeal to people who like to play tactically, or people who like to be like hands-on, like in the action. And I wish more games did stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, true. A lot of people didn't really like Inquisition. Like, was it because I feel like Dragon Age 2 was held at such a high standard, or was regarded so well, especially in that generation of 360 PS3.
Yeah, Dragon Age Origin especially, I feel, was like the one people hung on to a lot.
They did. Dragon Age Origins was kind of... It felt like that for both that and like the Mass Effect series, where people... Because like there were people that were mad they couldn't bring their Warden back in Inquisition. And I'm like, the Warden was 2 games ago. Let them live. Let them go do whatever they're doing. And like with Andromeda, it's like, why can't I have Shepard? I'm like, Shepard just had 3 games. Let them rest.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. I get it, because you get this close connection with them, but there's got to be room for more than just that,
Yeah, but some fans can't let that go.
That's true. That's very true. How did INDG start? I feel like that's something that it was pretty obvious to us that there was a need for, but there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
So funny story, it was spite. So 2014, I went to GDC with a friend who wanted to get in the industry. She wound up not getting in. But I met a lot of people, and it was just like, I'm going with my buddy. She wants to get in the industry. I did not think much about it. But then in October of that year, a lot of the games we'd seen either premiered at E3 or talked about like for years finally were coming out. And it was just straight white bro with like blonde hair, blue hair, green eyes and blonde hair, whatever. There was no difference.
Mhm.
And I just was tired of it. And so I started tweeting and added I need diverse games to a bunch of tweets. And it was right time, right place. A lot of people picked it up. A lot of developers picked it up. Shout out to Carnithia and Mickey Kendall, who shared a lot of those tweets. And she's always had a much bigger presence than me. And not only did she share a lot of tweets, she also she was very clear of like, this is who started it. So, I mean, because as we know, people like to take attribution on the tweeters. And it was right time, right place, and the right dose of spite. And it kept going. And it was, people wanted to have that conversation. They wanted to talk about inclusion and diversity. And it grew into its own Twitter, its own site, its own Tumblr. People started having me on podcasts. I started doing a bunch of stuff. And I was like, well, clearly people want to have this conversation, so let's roll with it.
Yeah.
And it grew into its own monster. And then when I lost my day job in 2015, it became my day job.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. And I actually didn't know that. I didn't actually know the origin story of it. I knew what it was. I knew, obviously it was founded by you and how helpful it's been for having a voice for this thing that so much of us feel. But It's cool to learn a little bit more about the backstory, though.
Yeah, all things can be done through spite.
Just get mad enough.
Yep, I'm an Aries, it shows.
What was the first game that you saw that went out of its way to actually do what they said they would do with inclusion and diversity and adding those things that we've all been complaining haven't been in games?
I would say Outer Worlds. Homie DJ Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him play that game and then playing it myself, but watching him do the character selection and seeing him just have this utter joy of, I can finally make a character that looks like me after all these years of playing games. Dark skin, the locks, even the locks with the color tips. And I'm just like, knowing the people at Obsidian and knowing the people who worked on it, I know that was very intentional because they're actually walking the walk. And I was able to send them that clip. And, I've used that clip in talks. It was that moment where I'm like, somebody finally gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's also Mafia 3. If anyone's played Mafia 3.
I saw you played it.
Look, Prey on the Way Up will be my favorite mission in a game beside taking out their version of the clan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that first thing where Lincoln gets to have that first taste of vengeance. And, actually, now, sorry, academic brain kicked in because my brain is like, Mafia 3 is actually a good exercise in the revenge story, especially with a black man as a protagonist.
Yes.
Because it's all about him getting back at these mafiosos who took out his family, his chosen family, and his blood family. And even the game doesn't let you just have this straight path of revenge and take over the mafia. You need to make a choice at the end. And if you don't pick the right path, that choice is made for you by a very unsuspecting person. Because you've both played it or watched people play it?
I've watched you play several sessions of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing, and I haven't seen the final.
Right. I've played a little bit of it, but I want to actually play this one.
I would say play it. Obviously have content warnings because it is very violent. There's drugs involved, PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And Lincoln gets his groove on in one of the DLCs. Not that needs a content warning, but hey, not everybody's feeling that when they may not feel it.
I feel you.
But Lincoln is a study in an angry black man, but with a very good cause.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that his accomplice is his buddy from the CIA from when they served in Vietnam, who's a white guy, but he's a white guy who is very unlike white men of that era because it takes place in '69.
Mm-hmm.
And the game does not shy away from calling you all kind of slurs. You walk down the street, people calling you boy and nigger, and and you hear the slurs on the radio as you drive around. it is not for everyone, because some people may be like, "Ooh, this is too much, it's too real."
Mm-hmm.
But this is what our
what it
parents, not even grandparents, our parents lived through this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the game where they had a black senior writer, and it showed.
Mm-hmm.
And the white members of the writing team and the studio, they knew what they were doing. They knew that they couldn't avoid this. They couldn't go, "Oh, that's too wrong." They couldn't pull a Texas Board of Education on this.
Listen.
And wipe it clean. They were like, "No, you getting these slurs, you going to see what it was like."
Yeah. It's I'm really amazed at how they pulled that off. Honestly, like it could be very easy for someone to look at that and like attract all the racist people to it and like, "Oh yeah, I get to run around calling people the N-word in this game." But then you're playing as the black man in it, and so you're directly experiencing that perspective as the player. I don't know, maybe I don't want to say it has changed people, but maybe it's changed the way people think about that kind of thing now that they've had an opportunity to like play in the shoes of a black man who is being treated in this way, if that makes sense.
We can hope so, but I think there's a caution, and I'd love to hear both of your thoughts on this, on using video games as empathy engines, because while, we've all had to play as like the white dude in Duke Nukem or whatever, when I turn that game off, I'm still brown. I'm still brown. The world still sees me, black chick. And conversely, if someone is playing Mafia 3 or they're playing like Street Fighter and they play through its Balrog, whatever, they turn that game off. They still have all the privilege they had before they played that game. It may make them more sympathetic. It may make them pick up a history book. But a game unto itself is not an empathy engine. And unfortunately, a lot of people play these games, and I've even heard people make comments about this for Motherlands, thinking that they can go play this game and understand the black experience, which isn't true, because for one, this is the black experience of someone in 1969 who has PTSD, who's been almost murdered and is dealing with the mafia and picking them off one by one as a black dude. Has to deal with the racism and Kennedy's assassination, all this other stuff, and King's assassination, and try to survive and get his revenge, versus a modern day black person who would live through 2020 and seeing George Floyd and Michael Brown and all these people killed. And, as a people, and this is a broad scope, but there's no good way to talk about it. A lot of us are psychologically scarred from watching too many of us getting murdered by cops in the system and being ground down and having to be 3 times as good to get half the notice.
Yeah, that's a real statement. And there's the fatigue that comes with that too, right? Of just how many more times do I have to see and experience this as someone who is already marginalized in a different way now.
Yeah, or be a black dude walking down the street and what the cops run up on you because they're like, "Oh, you look like some dude we heard robbed a store." You minding your business.
Yeah, it's so I'm seeing a few comments here. Mafia 3 is my catharsis game. Play it when you're angry, you feel powerless. Again, I haven't played the game, but I've seen it, and I've seen you play it. And I from perspective of like how like gritty and how much they didn't shy away from so much. I feel that like that comment resonates with me too. It's like, maybe it is because I am black and I can have that kind of liberating feeling from that. But that's not to say that that's how everyone should respond to that. That's just my own internalization of it.
Yeah, but I'd love to hear what you think, Audio. Because you mentioned kids earlier, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
that too.
So with these, especially with kids, it's very interesting. Because they play a lot of like Roblox and things like that, right? So I just dealt with this like a couple of months ago in them choosing their character and what skin tone they're picking for their characters, right? Why aren't they picking darker skinned characters? And they feel like they're scared, and these are 7-year-olds. My kids are 7 and 11. Or they watch not a lot of television, but they watch television and they see, more whiter characters, and that's what they're seeing, that's what they're resonating with. Or they're watching YouTube and who's playing these games and toys, and who's talking on YouTube about Roblox and things like that. So they're more, they reflect what they watch. As far as like it being, are people going to be more empathetic to these story-driven games when about Black people and things like that, or even just marginalized people in general? I've heard a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people of color talk about Mafia 3 in that sense. I can't say I've heard a lot of other people talk about Mafia 3 in that sense. And I do know, just in general, people who played that game. I particularly haven't played that game specifically just because I kind of wanted to stream it. And I didn't have a capture card at the time. And if you stream it directly from the PS5, they cut like half of the content. So
yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah,
the cutscenes, right?
That's one of the last games it actually happens with, and I was like, But I think I'm gonna just play that offline, because I've just heard so many people talk about this game, and I was like, that's one of the games like I really, really wanted to play, specifically just because he's a not just a Black person, but he's like a Black Dominican, and he's going through this after, I believe, what is this?
Vietnam.
You said 69, so Vietnam, right?
Yep.
So in Louisiana, and I was like, okay, like I remember I've played like that first story mission twice, and I remember just like a lot of the stuff I've heard, like the conversation word for word, and just what they like, how deep it is. So it's like one of those games. Is like I could tell this is going to be one of those games that make you think. At least for me, think like, okay, well, I know my history, I know how they were treating people, but now I could play this and experience it in a way where people my generation with my liking video games would like to experience this and see, okay, from a different lens. And I think we'll probably see more people experience that, or want to experience that. There are, for instance, just not last February, but right before the pandemic, my library did a Harlem Renaissance VR. And I've noticed, at least at that, a lot more people are becoming more receptive to interactive experiences of the Black experience. So I think it's going to take some time, in my opinion. I definitely believe you're right. It's just not something. It may be that one of those two real experiences that make more people think differently about, hey, maybe I shouldn't say this, or maybe I should look at this in a different light. But I think, we're still trying to get there. Look at the whole George Floyd situation. Look at just in general, like it's because of video cameras, our phone cameras, really, that people are really starting to witness and notice what we're going through on a day-to-day basis. And that's just the stuff people are able to pull out their cameras for.
And I think that's a really strong statement there. It's like exposure to those things, right? Like even the comment that you made about like your kids choosing the lighter skin versus the darker skin, like, people are not just kids, but people are sponges. You know, what they get exposed to becomes their version of reality sometimes, because they're not really taking that next step to see or understand how that's affecting them, or what's, you know, the other thing is, or etc.
Yeah, and especially with things like, you know, like Mafia 3 that don't shy away from it, or other games where there's like racism in it or what have you. Because I remember reading one of the first reviews I read for Mafia 3 before I got a chance to play it was a white British dude, and it was rock, paper, shotgun. And he talked about how fatigued he was having to hear nigger over and over and over. And I was like,
That's the
you
point.
played a video game and you can put this game down and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I'm like, I got 40 years of hearing this word, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had people call me this to my face.
Yeah. I mean, to that person's credit, then, like, imagine what that feels like, being able to step away from it versus what that feels like having to just live it. Like, I think that doesn't solve the problem of empathy and people understanding, but it does tip the scale at least a little bit. It's like, all right, I had to experience this on a small scale, like playing a game. You know, now I can only imagine how much worse it is, like living that shit all the time.
Yep.
Right. And that's another thing, right? Because a lot of people don't realize, I think, the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And or if put it this way, right? Like if I'm living in Manhattan, uptown, freaking butlers, maids, don't gotta worry about stuff. Why am I thinking about, the dude or the lady or whoever, the person who's, has to work paycheck to paycheck or is about to get kicked out of their home, or you don't ever think about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in that environment. So when something like this, games start to put you in a specific environment, and you can complain about it, right? Or you can actually say, wait a minute, how serious was this for real? Because some people just never took the time to actually learn about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, they may not have just never been educated or never cared to even know that was an issue to begin with.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. This is it's so good to have these conversations and even just these exploring these concepts, because I know on the other flip side of that, it can be desensitizing to some people to experience it in a interactive manner. I don't necessarily feel that way, but that's just me, though. Maybe other people feel desensitized by it.
I mean, they could be, but, a lot of this is tied up in people view games as for kids still. They don't view it as a genre or a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And they think of it as it's strictly entertainment. And that's why, like, with Bungie, supporting their employees' right to healthcare and abortion, and same with not Devolver Digital. I just saw it before we went live. But game companies going, we support our employees, and people going, you make video games, why keep out of politics? It's like, there are people who make the games that you like to play.
Right.
And that's where I think a lot of people, especially gamers, capital G gamer jackasses, have forgotten there are real live humans who sit at a desk either because of the pandemic at home, or they go into a studio and go outside and risk catching this virus to make the games. Because every time, and even pre-pandemic, when a game would be announced to be delayed or whatever, people would act like their last dollar was stolen and act like the game company personally showed up at their house and kicked their dog.
Right. Perspective, y'all. Like, it's okay to get upset because a thing happened, but it's more important than to realize like everything that leads up to something like that, to lead up to a decision where a game has to be, delayed by a year or something. Yeah, it sucks that you have to be inconvenienced and wait longer for this thing that you really want, but it's for, keeping people sane or keeping people healthy or ensuring that the product is better when it comes out than it would have been if they had released it then. You like is there's a little bit of push and pull, but I think more so than anything, people do generally lack empathy in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe so.
Yeah, which
I've been on Twitter 15 years. I know they lack empathy.
Yeah. Let's talk about like life stuff first. I feel like this transition from empathy. Actually, before we do that, I want to ask the last question, which was, what was the most memorable day of your gaming career? Or career in general. It doesn't have to be gaming. It could be
anything.
Yeah.
Well, I actually wrote down this answer because I was sitting there like, oh God, what do I say?
Yeah, it's a hard question to ask.
Well, because there's not one defining moment because one, I'm still doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had some moments where I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world, which is, being quite alive and still being part of a museum exhibit at the Victoria and Albert in London. You and I got to speak at Concordia along with our friend Brian and Kashana Gray.
Yes.
Having a documentary made about what I've been doing for the last 8 years. And that was really, really humbling. And it was a lot to sit there and watch your life story in a movie. And it's just like, okay, that was weird. I'm going to go now. What I went to London for is getting an award from Gaming Magazine, where and it's weird because I don't do this for glory or accolades. I don't do this for people to make a big deal out of it. I do it because, again, it's spite because people don't want me to do the work, so I'm a spiteful asshole. But also, because there's a need. Gaming has not improved enough to where I can wipe my hands and be like, deuces, I'm out. Gaming's fixed. Because it's not going to be fixed for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a process for sure, but
I mean, yeah.
I'm just happy that it's still something that you fell into and that something that it's clear that there's the demand for it. It's like very clear, not even just from people of color, but like, all right, other people are starting to catch on to this fact that like we need to see more games doing more with their writing to now appeal and sound different from each other, because you get to a point where everything sounds the same, not just looks the same, but sounds the same, then plays the same. It's like, all right, we need some differentiation.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll go right into our life section of the podcast, because I feel like it kind of pertains to what we were just talking about with empathy and some of the things that have been going on in our world right now. So in terms of life updates, let's do like a check on everybody. How are you doing? What are you up to? What's going on? And let's start with audio this time, and then work to you, Tanya.
Life interesting. I'm trying to figure out when I should go for my master's right now.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do in the fall. I'm gonna do it in the spring. That's really kind of where I'm at right now. Work's been work. For those who don't know, I am a urban planner for a city here in Florida. I know a lot of people do not like Florida at all, but someone's got to do the work, Yeah. Someone's got to do the Lord's work out here. So that's kind of where I'm at. And for for the most part, I've been involved in a couple of affordable housing projects. A lot of them have been senior housing. We're now starting to get into just regular affordable housing as well. Senior housing has been just, popular. A lot of people don't mind seniors living near them, but when it comes to the others, as people with wealth like to call them, like to call us, because I'm definitely part of that tax bracket. I feel like housing out here is crazy right now. That's another thing
low enough
that I've been kind of dealing with housing. Just in general, it's you really can't find a house out here unless you just have a plethora of money in South Florida right now. I think not even just in South Florida. I think anywhere in Florida. There was a location in Western Florida that I was looking at earlier in January that was going for like the mid twos. And then I come back around and we're in April, and they're already in the mid fours. Oh no, we're in May in the mid fours. So yeah. Same location, same model, everything. A couple of months, $200,000.
Yeah, damn.
So that's probably why you're getting some delays on your side, because they're trying to build them on our side. They're getting all this money. Yeah, they're getting all this money. No, seriously. Listen, I'm looking at homes that were selling for like 400,000 10 years ago. People are like trying to sell for like 900,000, $1 million plus.
Yeah,
right now. So it's getting really ridiculous down here. So that's kind of been what's going on with me. Still trying to look for a home. Trying to figure out this master's thing as well. And making content back to the YouTube.
Yeah, I feel that. What about you, Tanya? What's going on in your world?
Oh boy. Let's see. Still jet lagged from London. I was there for 11 days. But Gaming Mag was great. I didn't trip or fall down the stairs because I was worried about that going up to the stage.
Yeah.
And look, it was some steep stairs, and there was only a rail on one side. So, and they gave us an open bar. It was a struggle. And it was good. It was good to meet a lot of people. I got to meet a lot of Black Twitch UK folks. And also it was emotional because those of you that don't know, we found out that our friend Andrea passed in February. So, I dedicated that award to her, because without her and a few other people in the space, I would have never started streaming. I would never have done this. And and it was just one of those moments of, it's real sobering, because you have to think about, if you don't talk to somebody in a while, and you get that intuition, you need to go check.
Absolutely.
So that's just been on my mind, because we found out not long before I left for the trip. And and that's hard, but people came through the GoFundMe to take care of everything, and her mom, it's well over like $14,000. So that's something that's been on my mind too, because we're like, a lot of us in New York are trying to like figure out the best way to honor her memory right now. Work wise, making a game is hard, in case anyone didn't know that.
Yes,
just so you know, making things is hard.
What's the hardest part, or the two hardest parts, whatever you feel like you should tell people that they don't know about?
You're always going to need more time than you think. And making game mechanics is really difficult. Finding the balance especially with RPG stuff, is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have a team of people doing it. And, you know, because I can design mechanics, I know D&D inside and out, but we're making our own system. So when you're making your own thing from scratch, add the multiplier by like 100 to make it harder. And And those two things of just the biggest thing is it's going to take way longer than you think it does. You're like, I've got this cute little timeline. The universe will be like, that's cute. That's nice. You need to go double that right now, just so you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, Rebels Waterdeep comes back in 3 weeks. Black Dice Society is doing well. We just have episode 45. We lost a player, not a player, but a character. But we fought Strahd, who's the equivalent of fighting Dracula.
Ooh.
And Strahd is the OG vampire in D&D. And let's see what else. Mainly just trying to get through the weekend. And because for those that don't know, my mom passed 2 years ago, so tomorrow's gonna be a rough day. And that's why I was like, we gotta do this tonight. I am not talking to nobody tomorrow.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, just mainly just trying to get the disaster of an office you can kind of see in shape, get my 3D printer back up and running, and ink a bunch of dice. That's what I might do. Although I do not recommend getting high and then inking dice. Because it may not work out for you.
Let's talk about that. So what did you pick up recently?
I literally went to the dispensary earlier today. So shout out to my local dispensary, Dispensary 33. So this is where my lack of knowledge comes in. I got one that's called Black Afghan.
Okay. I'm familiar. I haven't had it. I'm familiar with it.
I am not. These are different disposable vapes. And then then a sativa called Tangerine Haze. And because I'm old and everything hurts, I got some cannabis pain relief balm and some gummies.
Yes. So to your comment, I also want to say to one of my mods here, as well as a friend of mine, Lozing, she recently lost her mother too. So my heart goes out to both of you. Loss is hard in general, but you both know that I'm always here if you want to just talk or just want space. That's okay too. But yeah, for anyone who is trying to learn a little bit more about cannabis as well, do you know the differences between indica and sativa? Okay.
That's why I got one of each.
Yes. So they say it is the case, but some people react differently to everything. Sativa is more so something that's not going to necessarily put you to sleep. It's more of like a functional high. You feel it in your body, you feel it in your head a little bit, but it's more so about like feeling relaxed and feeling, elevated, but not like to the point where you just want to like chill and not do anything.
So it's not to like sit there and get your nod on weed.
Right. Which again, some people, if I believe it's the THC content, if it's high enough, it may do that, but those are usually what the hybrids are. So the indica is the one that, it's like in the couch. So it's like, it'll put you out.
You're like, I closed my eyes for a minute and now it's 2 a.m.
Yes. So if you just need to just zonk out and you need something heavy to do that, get yourself some indica. But if you want something that's like going to make me feel sleepy, but I won't go to sleep, I'll just be like, all right, I'll have that feeling of it and still have the body feel. That's what you want like a hybrid for, because you'll still be able to at least be somewhat functional while doing that. Okay. Now, again, everyone responds to psychoactive, chemicals differently. But for me, usually if I have an indica, I'm not doing anything other than eating some more food, watching some more stuff, or getting a little freaky. And if you haven't,
you know yourself though.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. I'm very excited to hear your adventures.
Oh, my adventures. Yeah. If you don't hear from me no more tonight,
you know which one it is.
We got off this podcast and I didn't hear from her no more.
Not I would.
Nothing.
So, all right. Something happened this week that kind of put things into perspective. It's something that I've always known, but like I felt it more because this happened. So, my wife and I were meeting up with a friend to go see Doctor Strange 2. We didn't make it to the movie theater because we got into a car crash on the way there.
No.
I hadn't really said anything about this to anyone yet.
Okay, how are you just gonna cash drop? Oh, we just had a car crash.
Right?
So, I'm here and I'm okay, and so is she. I was more concerned about if she was okay. So it was monsooning down here. It was raining really hard. And we were like, all right, like I know because of the rain, we're not going to go as fast as we normally would. And like, I want to make it on time, but I don't want to put us in danger or anything like that. So we went and got some food, and on our way, like literally coming on to the highway on the ramp, I'm looking over, everything's fine. I switch lanes and like the car just keeps going. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm trying to go forward and it's just not going forward. It's just.
Oh, you hydroplaned?
Literally hydroplaned all the way into the concrete like side of the highway. And it was terrifying because I'd spun out in a car before. I grew up in Boston, snow, ice, you run into that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But usually it's like much slower. We weren't going that fast, but it was still like terrifying because this could have been the last moment I was with my wife. Thankfully there weren't any other cars next to us, and like we hit it at an angle where like literally like it was like I was going forward, it was sliding this way, so I already had momentum going in a different direction, and we were like kind of skidding this way, so I got us to like flatten out a little bit. That way it wasn't like going all the way this way. It was more so like going this way by the time it got to the wall. So I got hit on my end, but it was just like a boop. I was just
so you hit it parallel to you.
Yeah, I hit it parallel, perfectly parallel. So I was like, all right. Thankfully, like I was able to steer us in that direction, but it was still fucking terrifying to lose control like that.
Yeah.
And for it to skid that much. But what's crazier about it too is, for anyone who watched the first Doctor Strange movie, like the whole premise is he got into this big ass car accident and couldn't use his hands anymore. Like, I was like, all right, this is fucking weird. And then Rolomex Boss, I don't know if y'all are following her. She's a cosplayer as well as a content creator. She's super dope. She's married to Mav Attack. I connected with her recently and I told her that happened. She was like, oh my God, we were coming back from Doctor Strange 2 and our car got messed up. And I was like, this is really weird. Cause like I literally talked to her the evening after it happened.
Wow.
So like all this weird universe shit has been happening recently. So like between the house situation, they told us it might be until November when we can actually move into our home, which is insane. But like we mentioned before, the housing market everywhere is just in this really weird place where there's not enough people, there's not enough houses for the number of people trying to buy houses. So there's a short demand. There's also not a lot of workers working on these homes. There's a backlog of stuff that happened all throughout COVID. So between those two things happening, and then of course the kind of big thing which we'll lead into now is the Roe versus Wade overturning, which this affects everybody. This isn't just a women's rights issue. This is like a human, like, catastrophe. Like, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory, kind of how we feel about it, but I think it's important to still talk about it that way. I don't know. It's kind of an outlet for us to even just discuss it too, just because.
Well, it's the thing of, for those of us that have been paying attention to politics or just even noticing kind of the terrible shift in this country toward basically a theocracy, let's just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, Justice Alito and I forget what you call the right word, but the thing I've seen circulating lately is about the whole lack of domestic babies. And I'm like, what? So this whole fear, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like, but even, we need to go back 3 presidents where there was this white fear of Obama and this whole anchor baby thing. And this is coming forward of, they're scared of immigrants. They're scared of no longer being a majority.
They're already coining the browning of America.
Right. And it's like, you brought us here. What the fuck do you want?
What'd you expect was going to happen?
Well, and it's like, there's a reason there's different shades of brown right now on this screen.
Right.
Spade is spade.
Right.
And it wasn't by consent either.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to put for those people who are getting slavery light in their textbooks,
which is a real concern now. Jesus.
Yeah, but there's the whole reason of the light-skinned slaves were kept in the house. They were more aesthetically pleasing. They were the ones that often got passed around and married or married under the table, and their kids stayed in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the field slaves were the ones that were dark-skinned and bred, let's just say it, to be strong, to work the fields. And this is why we still got this whole light-skinned, dark-skinned bullshit within our own culture to begin with. But, there's been this fear of the browning of America, like you said, and it's like this whole terror over they need to just come out and say they're scared not enough white women are having babies. They don't give a fuck if we have abortions as black folks. They don't care.
Well, yeah.
And they don't care if black and brown women died trying to get a legal abortion.
That's true.
But rich white women have always been able to go get an abortion even when it wasn't legal.
I actually didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you went away to a girls' school in upstate New York or wherever you lived. You went away to a school for girls, and you might or might not come back. And for me personally, if Roe v. Wade had been passed even a few months earlier, I might not be here. I've talked about this before. I was not planned for. I was not wanted. And if it had been passed any earlier, I might not even be here.
Right.
And, if Roe v. Wade had never been passed, I would have been stuck with a kid I wasn't ready for and didn't want when I was like in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't have had the chance to do all the things I got to do in my 20s. Like go abroad, go to college, all that other stuff that my mom never did. So there's also the fact that everyone is framed as a women's issue, but they're excluding non-binary folks, agender folks, transmasculine folks who still have a uterus, and anyone basically who can get pregnant.
Right.
And they're just going. These are also the people that only see cis women as women, and that's a big issue. I mean, the turf wizard finally spoke up, but she only cares about cis women too. So, but both of you as and you've already got kids, and Will, I don't know if you want kids, but
I do. Yeah.
Or what if you get in a situation where you're not ready yet, and it's not the best thing, because that was why I made my decision with my partner at the time. We were not in a position to raise a kid. We could barely take care of ourselves. We didn't even have our own place. So it wasn't a light decision that we made.
Right. And it's usually not.
Right. There's usually not people going, oh, well, I get to have an abortion today. Yay. Like, that's not how people typically feel about something as serious as that. And
because you're making a hard choice.
Yeah.
And they're treating it like all of these women are just out here being whores and harlots, and abortion isn't easy. clean up if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
But a lot of married folks who simply just don't want another kid or weren't planning on another kid, they often are a lot of the people who get them. And this whole acting like people are doing these late in the game abortions, that's usually when it's a tragic reason and the kid wouldn't live anyway.
Yeah. So like even what people sometimes forget is that there are people who are in positions of power today who lived and were a part of society when blacks couldn't vote, when women couldn't vote, like when there were even more restrictions on the way that we live our lives. And these people, I'm not saying all of them are still racist, but there's a good chance that some of these people who were a part of that are
that same mindset,
still perpetuating that. Right. Like,
right. That mindset never really changed.
Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago. We like to pretend it was because we're so civilized.
The Civil Rights and the Civil Rights Act is what, 1964, 1968. Sorry, I might get disconnected.
Okay, that's all right.
Oh, no. I thought that was like the dad face of like, is that those kids?
Oh no,
that's definitely outside.
Is it the rain?
Yeah. Like I was like, yeah. But anyway, as long as I'm still here. Yeah, I mean, that's, and we're still dealing with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're still dealing with those kinds of issues when it comes to housing and how people treat, FHA loans versus conventional loans, right? Like now it's when you get into these homeowner associations or condo associations, who they accept because of what, right? They're able to get away with certain things and they know what they're doing. So when we look at just a systematic way of things just have been happening, it's the same way with this situation, and it's sad. It's sad.
My wife said something that resonated with me pretty hard, which was her grandmother died with more rights than she has right now. And
damn,
that's still blows my mind because it's true. Like how I know how, and we see how, but to just feel this helpless about it is really frustrating because they've done polls on this. Like they've gathered data and information and research. A majority of people did not want Roe v. Wade to be reversed. Like, the representatives in the Senate, like they're working for us. These are our tax dollars that are having them in payroll, and they are making this decision without our input.
Well, that, and it's like I was actually talking to my partner about this morning and I talked about it on Twitter of ever since I got home on Monday, I've just been bombarded with these emails from the Democratic Party of help us fight the Republicans, help us save Roe v. Wade. And they're like, also, and they keep talking about vote. I'm like, I live in Illinois. I voted, but I've also voted and helped put Biden in office. He wasn't even my choice. I did not want this man in office. I didn't want Kamala Harris in office because she's a fucking cop. Did not want her in office. But at this point, the Democrats have the majority. Why are you constantly emailing me, asking me for money and for a vote that I can't give you right now?
Right.
You all have the majority. Go do your fucking job.
Yeah.
Just because I donated to Obama 8 years ago, y'all got my name on a roll and keep asking me for money. And I'm like, go do your job. You have the majority. You have the ability to fix this shit.
Go talk to Manchin and get him to do what he's supposed to do as someone who's a allied to the Democratic Party. Do what you, because we've done our part in fighting. Like we got you in this position to actually do the rest of the work. If this means y'all got to start signing more executive orders like, old Orange did when he was in power, That's what you got to do then.
Well, that dude also thought he was a dictator, and he still wants to be a dictator.
Very true. Very true. But he screwed us in a lot of ways that we're trying real hard to recover from.
Yeah, but for me, and it's like, and I'm not sure if either of you've seen this, but like Biden's basically just throwing up his hands like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do. And it's like, you got the majority. What the fuck? You're the president. You can overturn all this.
Right. This fear of power distribution is just gotten so out of hand that it's gotten in the way of like policymakers getting anything done.
Yeah, well, I mean, they started that a lot when Obama was in office. They had the majority then, but the Republicans blocked everything he tried to do.
Yes.
It's like, again, you are the fucking president. Yes, there's checks and balances. We all learned this in high school civics.
Mm-hmm.
But you're the president.
I agree with you. I'll say at the very least, there was a much tighter microscope on Obama in his position of power. And anytime he did anything that was like, all right, we are the majority, let's move forward. It's like, oh, you're not considering the Republican side of the conversation. Yeah. You're not, you're only choosing to be blah, blah, blah. And so anytime he tried to have that conversation, they pull that card. Whereas now, like before him, and after him, it's been okay for the Republicans to do that at every step.
I mean, they were mad he wore a tan suit. So
like that was a huge controversy. Oh my God, a tan suit.
Only if you have no fashion. I'm watching audio with the button up. I'm like, I got on a t-shirt. I'm just chilling.
Yeah, right. He's like, I know about fashion, and I was out to date.
It's a new look for me. It's a new look.
It's a good look. I like it. Like I said before, it kind of goes without saying how we are all processing and feeling about it. But it should be said that we're frustrated at the situation and frustrated that our elected leaders they're just not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been enough.
Yeah. It hasn't been enough for at least a decade, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just put it on the table. One, the Orange Menace was not qualified. We saw that in debates. We know he stole the fucking election. Despite everyone claiming that Biden stole this election. No, we just got tired of his shit. And that the disinformation spread by the people who supported him, who still support him, who worship him.
Oh no, she cut out.
I was like, wait a minute, is it me? Is it her? I got scared for a second because my light's been flickering. I'm like, wait a minute, is it me?
No. Yeah, the disinformation has been insane. Like,
yes,
to the point where they've literally had to go on social media platforms and put the little link of like verified information on shit. Like that wasn't a thing before this orange fuck came into the situation.
And you know what? I almost feel like he was a necessary evil, though,
to get us to wake up to what's actually happening.
Yeah, and I still feel like we're not fully awake, but like to get like social media is still in its teenage years, right? So like it took this for social media to be like, oh wait, there's too much disinformation, because there was always disinformation going around.
There's always someone saying some dumb shit. Yeah,
there was always that, right? Once you give people the power to have an opinion and broadcast that opinion, they're gonna do it. Yeah, they're gonna do it. So now I do feel like he was somewhat of a necessary. Was it to the extent that he had to become president? But like, I think during the campaign, I felt like, this is a necessary evil that we need, because we need newer safeguards. we need to see where our leaks are,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and those kinds of things. So I just was never a fan though,
Yeah.
of anything he did. And I'm going as far back as like The Apprentice. I was just never a fan.
Okay. Yeah. He was never with the shits to begin with. Yeah.
Never a fan.
Yeah.
So like even when he, you know, when we're talking about him being a businessman, I mean, you can't really say that when you went for bankruptcy twice. What are we doing here?
And you were given your business.
Like, yeah, like we're, you know,
it's not a self-made situation. It's like, all right,
Twice.
I got a
Twice.
bunch of money. Yeah.
Hi,
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Welcome back.
I'm on from my phone because apparently my internet went down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That
I've
is
been
it.
scared for that. And Comcast been acting up.
I don't know what's happening because I was just sitting here chilling and it's not even bad weather here.
Hey, yo, they heard our conversation. Was like, we gotta put an end to
Right?
this. We gotta stop these motherfuckers.
Listen, I need to know who Comcast donating to. That's what I need to find out.
Look,
They're donating to somebody.
Look, we can Google. That's not hard to find.
we can find out today.
Yeah, so I'm on audio. I don't know if I'm on video, but
No, you're not, but that's okay. I appreciate you trying to jump back in either way because listen, technology always finds a way to just throw us for a curveball at the most inopportune time. I had to
right,
develop-
I'm like, I'm getting a point going, and then the internet was like, "No, we gotta stop."
They're trying to shut you down.
Look, the internet's like, she's making too much sense. We can't have this. We can't have this.
Too much logic. I can't do it.
Yeah, just throw a picture of me up there and call it a day, but I'll stay on audio on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So, kind of jumping back to the other. Why is this thing not open? See, remember how I told you technology to be doing its own shit sometimes. Like, I'm just trying to get back to the agenda.
Well, the agenda I have is still open. It hasn't closed on me yet.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So we got what's a movie that you could rely on to cheer you up?
Yeah. So, like all the bullshit that we just talked about. There's way more we can even go into detail about, but we won't for the sake of our own sanity. What do you feel is like a good vibe movie that's like all this shit happened these past few weeks, Ukraine war as well, and how, you know, where is all this energy when, you know, the Afghan refugees were trying to come over, the Iraq and Iran, like all these other places where there were huge conflicts. Where was this love for refugees and people coming together to help solve a problem? Where was all that?
You know where it was. It was not in the pocket because they were not white.
Yeah. So I too have my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine. It's a really fucked up situation that they're dealing with. We shouldn't be in this mess. They shouldn't be in this mess to begin with. My only complaint is that I just wish the same energy was reserved for brown people. That's all.
It's not going to.
Yeah,
It's not going to, my man.
they're used to war, quote unquote.
Listen, that I've done a lot of research. It's okay. You know what? You know, a feel good movie for me has always been Coming to America. The original.
Yeah, I didn't see the second one yet.
I haven't seen. I don't know if I'm ever really gonna actually watch that.
I didn't hear it was good. But,
I don't want that one to. The first one is just a classic. Like, I get why you kind of like may want a sequel, but like, listen, like Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall on that first one, like the barbershop stuff.
yeah,
Like,
I haven't seen the movie in so long.
yo, his mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, good morning, my neighbors. You, you know? Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, that's always a movie for me.
Okay. I like that. What about you, Tanya?
It's gonna sound really weird, but Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
Because it's so over the top.
Yeah.
And, on the one hand, I shouldn't give anything with Quentin Tarantino that much credit because we know he wants a black card real hard but can't get one.
He made the effort, though.
But also, what?
I say he made the effort, though.
He made the effort, but look, after the whole thing where he basically just wants to get away with saying the word nigger, I'm kind of done. But the violence is so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it is, and also just, it's one of those things of like, I can turn my brain off. I know it's going to be super violent, but it's also, the blood in it looks like jam. It doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
I can just watch it and zone out.
Yeah. I feel like that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like I've seen that movie many times, and each time I sat down to watch it, it was like, yes, I'm watching this shit. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And you couldn't take it serious.
Right. Like, even her sensei, where he was just like talking so much shit to her. Like,
right.
It was so good because it was like, yeah, serious. He is a Sifu. He's going to teach me everything I need to learn to be successful. But man, he's just tearing into this mother, like going in.
Yeah.
So funny. Now I asked this question and didn't have an answer lined up. I feel,
See?
It's
a hard
like
that sometimes.
It do. Use my own shit against me. I see you. I feel like Lion King is probably that movie for me. Just because it deals with so many, like, it came out at a time in my youth where, like, the Disney movies were like the height of their popularity. You had Aladdin, you had Lion King, and it was just like, oh man, like these are amazing. But I feel like I can still watch that movie and still get that like nostalgic feel, and also still like that heart-wrenching feel from the beginning of like the loss, but then like, the journey to becoming an adult and coming to terms with reality and doing something about it. Like, I feel like it was like it's just such a good trajectory thing where it's like, man, stuff is real shitty right now, but it got way better. Way better. Yeah. So I feel like if it's like a feel good, you know what? Honestly, in the movie Elf, I know I only was supposed to say one answer, but I saw Elf again for like the first time in like 4 years last year, and that movie is hilarious today, and it's so stupid but so feel good, and like you could be having the worst day ever and you could watch that movie and like just feel like a kid again. Like,
oh, it looks like I might be back in the call. I don't know. Hold on.
Okay. I don't see you yet, but I still hear you from your phone.
All right, I'm on my phone. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I see some comments here. Lion King, hands down your favorite Disney movie, and the Broadway play just took it over the top.
Really good one.
I didn't see the Broadway play.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah. But I did see the remake they did using CGI. It didn't do nothing for you?
Comment on that.
Oh, I will say.
You know what? I like the Aladdin better, but then I'm partial to Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, no, Aladdin was a very, very good movie, like live action. They did that perfectly.
But then I feel like they didn't let Guy Ritchie really do Guy Ritchie.
Okay.
So I was kind of Like Guy Ritchie does some really good stuff.
Yeah. Which actor is Guy Ritchie?
Well, no, the director.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So like when he did like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, and Snatch. He always has that at the end, like he flips it on you, like he does that Tarantino.
Okay.
Like, he has that like at the end, like it's like totally different than what you expect it would be.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it because it's Aladdin, like it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
But they did all right with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite Aladdin has always been what is it? The Prince of Thieves, Prince of Thieves, the third one.
I don't remember if I've seen the second or third one.
The second one wasn't good.
Okay.
The Return of Jafar, I never liked that one.
I remember the name, but I don't remember anything about it.
That one, Return of Jafar, wasn't good. The third one was good.
Okay.
I definitely like the third one.
Okay. Yeah, they did such a great job with like the. I'll say it again.
The internet faked me out.
Oh, it gave me the okie doke.
Yeah, and see, it just popped back up. I don't trust it though.
The cake is a lie.
Yeah, so long as people can hear me, let's just run with it. Because I'm like, I don't trust this internet.
Yeah. Shit, I get it. Having moved as many times as I did and changed different ISPs, and listen, I get it.
Discord also is loading on the desktop. Now, Discord's like, do I have internet? Do I not have internet? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But look, we got audio. We good.
Right. We got audio and we got audio. Yeah, I was just talking about how Lion King was just it for me. And we talked about the live action, the Aladdin movie, which I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. You know, with as skeptical as people were.
You know what it was? It was because we saw Will Smith very early on.
Yeah,
we saw like the stills, and like I think did they leak him as Genie?
I think so.
No, no, it was the first images where he wasn't blue.
Yeah, I was like, what the what?
That's what it was.
What's happening?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
He was not blue.
But it had no context, so we were like, why the fuck is he not blue? That's his like signature thing.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. On the other hand though, at least he can have 10 years off of going to the Oscars.
Yeah. Oh man, what a complicated situation that became for everyone.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Yeah.
So, let me put this out here.
Yeah.
And people might be surprised to hear me talk like this, but I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
I got so tired of these raggedy ass white women crying about how traumatized they were by this slap. That wasn't like he ran up on him with a knife.
Right.
He slapped him. The Philly jumped out.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Where's Philadelphia?
All he did was slap him. Chris Rock didn't even fall down. Everybody's acting like who was that was like he could have died. What slapping are you doing? People die. And I'm just like, but these people are like making about that. I was traumatized. Okay, now granted, there may have been some people who had a moment, got taken back to childhood if they grew up in an abusive home.
For sure.
I'm not going to count that. But it was just, dude walked up, calm as you please, like he was about to get his keys from the valet, popped him one good time and sat back down.
You know what it was for me though? I'm not going to lie. Like he fixed his jacket.
Right.
My man, no.
I didn't break Will.
My man, like, legitimately, like fixed his jacket. Like, I was like, sir,
keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
like, I mean, I know, you know what hit me in the head? Like, it was that damn Kendrick Lamar line where it's like, if I have to slap me a bitch ass nigga, I'm gonna make it look sexy. I was like, yo,
Right.
my
and that's
man
like,
fixed his jacket. I was like,
honestly, I had so many feelings rushing through when that happened, because on the one end, would I have gone up there and slapped him on live television? I would have probably saved it for after.
I wouldn't have done it. Yeah. I would have went backstage.
I would have been like, hey man, I would have been like, I would have been shaking my head like, there. I would have been looking at my wife like, yo, if you want me to do something, I'm gonna do something. Like that's what I would do.
I can't. First and foremost, you can't do stuff like that on camera.
Yeah,
as a black person.
Yes.
right. But he laughed, and then he saw Jada's face.
Right? No. Listen. At the end of the day, you have to know as a black person there are going to be repercussions. Period.
Yes.
I know.
And you have to know too, going into that, like, unfortunately, Will Smith and Jada have been like the blunt of comedy with their entanglement for a while now. So, like, I'm sure they're sick of being mentioned and made fun of in that way all the time. But they're also in comedy, and they know that's a thing. So,
till today, I don't think Chris Rock got slapped for that joke. I think he got slapped for the internet.
Yeah, okay.
That is my honest opinion.
I feel
that is my honest opinion, dog. I think he took one for the entire internet.
Yeah.
I can't see Will Smith endangering his whole career and legacy over something like that just for clicks.
I don't think that's what he means. I think he means like
no. I mean, like, he was so tired of hearing about him, hearing about his wife. Like, he was so fed up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, yeah. You are the person that I see right now, but like, this is for everybody.
Yeah.
But he been, talking trash about these people are supposedly his friends for years.
Oh yeah.
I just got up and slowly made my way around like I was going to the bathroom and met his ass backstage.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because I do feel like there are, as a black person, there's just an extra light on you.
Oh yeah.
And granted, like, listen, we got to deal with stuff all the time. We see it happen all the time. Yo, I remember, like, I had to look at every other black, like, actor talk about this. Yeah. And I forget his name, but he's in Atlanta. He was also in Get Out.
Donald? Oh, no.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
And they were asking him about the slap, and he was like, bruh, like, stuff like that happen every day in the hood. Like, it just happened to happen here. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So, like, I get it. I get it. But you do have to take that backstage just so you don't put yourself in a position like what he had to go through.
Yeah.
Because I think that's whether he needed to do it or not. I think that's up to him. At the end of the day, right? That's up between them, right? Like, I don't think not everything's for the internet.
Yes, that was a conversation that they needed to have for sure. Like,
right, and I felt like because it happened in cameras, the internet got wind. Like, not everything is supposed to happen for the internet.
And the Oscars, like all listen,
the whole world,
right? All the shit that they've known other actors have done that's way worse than what Will Smith did, and how they're still kind of allowed to run free and do whatever they do.
It's because it didn't happen in front of cameras.
And it's fucking with
you get what I'm
money.
saying?
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah,
but like, bro couldn't even show up to the ceremony because he would have been arrested for being a fucking pedo. But they want to ban Will Smith for 10 years for one slap.
Right. And that's because, like Audio said, they got it on camera.
They got it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that, that this became a thing for people to sit there and dissect. And I wish I had Critical Bar's clip of stay out of black folks' business.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what? I felt like that when I saw it, and then I was like, you can't, because they got it on camera in a white man's event.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the BET Awards. If it was the BET Awards, they had a black folks business. Straight up. No. Real talk.
Yeah.
Have the same.
But
I don't think
Oh, go
they
ahead.
react.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Let me pick up my phone. I'm saying that, if that had happened in the BET Awards or Hip Hop Awards, it wouldn't have been the same reaction.
I think it would have been similar.
Yeah,
to an extent.
Just because it is Will Smith and
And Jada and
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I think yeah. Now if it was because it was them, I think wherever they would have been, if it was caught on camera, it would have got that reaction. Listen, I remember when Diddy freaking threw kettlebells at his damn son's coach for pushing him too hard, and like that got a certain reaction, but like because they didn't get it on camera, it died down quickly. But once you get something on camera, it's just
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's an interesting take that I saw on Twitter, which kind of encapsulated how I felt about the whole thing, right? Where it was, for generations, black women have been part of jokes, especially with regards to hair, like for as long back as I can remember. And it's important for people to stand up to that. So like kudos to like saying something or being like, hey, listen, this is not only like a black woman that, you make fun of, blah, 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 but like she actually has a medical condition that's leading to this, that, and the third. Whether or not Chris knew that or not is I guess what's been hotly debated, but either way, like it was kind of he could have been a lot more vicious if he was trying to be malicious with his joke.
Yeah, but here's also
but he knows better.
But here's also the other thing I think about that, right?
Yeah.
Especially particularly to like the hair situation. If Will Smith didn't get up there and slap him, I truly do believe Chris Rock would have been on the hot seat about that joke.
Okay. I think you're right.
I think he would have been on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Especially with our community.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because he did a documentary about hair.
Exactly, especially with our community.
Yeah,
but because of that slap, all that went out the window. Well, because he got slapped on camera.
Right.
No, because that's the thing. He got slapped on camera. On stage. Let's be very clear here.
Yeah.
If it was backstage, no one would have been the wiser. It would have just been a rumor.
True.
He wouldn't have made that joke no more, though.
Also
Facts.
true.
Facts.
I bet you won't again.
Nope.
All right, we're winding down to the very last parts of the podcast. First of all, I want to just say thank you again to both of you for being on the show. It's been a great conversation because we've got to talk about a lot of different things today, and some of it, important to talk about, but still kind of gloomy. And a lot of it has been also enlightening and great to talk about. So thank you to both of you for that.
You're welcome.
The last bit of stuff that we have to talk about today pertains to gaming. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, flow wise, if it's better to, like, go into, life and then gaming, or gaming then life?
I've been liking this. I mean, we've definitely had a solid conversation, I think.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm taking notes on ways to continuously improve what it is I do, so I appreciate that. So all right. So in addition to all the crazy shit that happened, like real world, a lot of shit's been happening in gaming too. So I guess let's just start with like what we've been playing. And if you want to give like a kind of a quick review of a game that you're playing that you think people should be checking out for show, feel free to. If not, you can just kind of say what you've been playing and enjoying. And let's start with you, Tanya.
Elden Ring, still kicking my ass. I haven't beat any of the bosses, but I've been finding ways around them.
Okay.
So I've unlocked areas I probably shouldn't be in. Over here, like, this looks pretty. Oh God, what is that thing that's gonna kill me?
Yep. That's Elden Ring.
Yeah, basically. So been playing that. And actually a game that is on Game Pass is Citizen Sleeper.
Okay.
It's a very wordy, to me in a good way, but it's very wordy. Sci-fi, since you said you like sci-fi audio. You are basically a synthetic body that is sold yourself to a corporation, and you got away from the corporation, and you have to find a way to survive, both in terms of nourishing the synthetic body, but also unlocking all the safe guards from the company. So there's a lot of, you have dice rolls, you have risk, you have reward. You can basically starve yourself if you don't get a compound to do anything. And you only get so many actions per day. And, you have to be strategic and think about it. It's very much like, it reminded me of like a pen and paper, old school RPG. And you just really you can't just breeze through it and go, I pick thing, I do thing, and I advance. You got to think that you could die real early in this game.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's on Game Pass, or it's only 18. I think it's really cheap. I bought but have not yet played Trek to Yomi, but I've been watching a lot of people play it. That is also on Game Pass.
What was the name of that first game you mentioned?
Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, it looks nice. I like the artwork.
Yeah, it's really dope. If you stream it or do a live or do a like playthrough of it, it is quite talky. There's a lot of text and no voice acting.
Okay.
So have some tea or some water nearby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I did way more talking than I expected playing it, but I enjoyed it. I need to get back to it. If my internet ever acts right, I may get back to it tonight. And
Every cycle you take your chances.
so my latest VOD should be me playing Citizen Sleeper. And Trek to Yomi, I watched the Homie Technique play it, and it's a Kurosawa film. It's a tribute to Kurosawa that I love. And I picked that up. It was only $18. It's also on Game Pass. And if you like Kurosawa films, if you liked Legend of Tsushima, I think you'll love this game.
God, I love Tsushima. I love that game so much.
Yep, and people have even been putting their cameras in black and white to play it. It's from Devolver Digital.
Okay.
I love their stuff. I love their games. They're so good. Okay, that's what's up. What about you, Audio Lover? What you been playing? What do you want to give people the lowdown on?
Jesus, what have I been playing? No. It's been very difficult to put on this damn PS5 for the last like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. Shout out to you with the
honestly,
PS5.
I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West still. That one it's difficult for me to get through that right now, just because like I want to beat the game, but I want to do the side stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to balance that. And like I know that that's always a balance with like a lot of other games that have side quests and like, you know, errands and things of that nature. But it's like I kind of want to get like this armor set, right? And it's so I gotta do like all this stuff, and I know I'm like kind of at the end, not quite there, but I'm kind of there. Like I know I'm like about to be at the point where it's like you can't turn back if you keep going forward. So, but it's honestly a good game. I've also been playing Rogue Company.
Okay, I saw you on
like
that the other day.
Yeah, as far as my multiplayer stuff, that's been fun. The update, I like the new update that they did like 2-3 weeks ago. They cleaned up a lot of stuff, I believe. I never played it when I played it once when it first came out, and I didn't pick it back up until like maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah.
So those two have been like the main things I've been playing, and then still I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
So good. We gotta play it again because we played that last time.
No, that's like that's my jam. Like that's why it's been so difficult for me to like play Horizon, because like when I am ready to get on Horizon, like I know I have to like put a 2-3 hour block minimum for this game. Like if I cannot play for like an hour, and then because it's just so much to take in.
Yeah.
And you know, and you keep going west. Spoiler alert, like you have to keep going west. Right? If you didn't know, Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Just to spoil it for you. I'm sorry guys. But so I'm in the west somewhere.
Yeah.
Not completely out west, but I'm there, and I realize I'm at the mission where like I might just be going too west. So let me
Going
let me bring it
about
back.
to beat the game.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. And then I actually booted up for the first time in like God knows since day one. For the first time I played Warzone. I was in a trash can customs with the BTC, the Black Twitch Collective. Shout out to them. We did that just last weekend, and we had team captains who were the sweats, and then you had everyone they drafted, so we had a whole draft and everything, and the novices, because I've never played the game.
Oh wow.
So they taught us how to play or whatever. And that was fun. I died a couple of times. I got like 2 kills with a pistol.
Okay.
Never was able to like pick up a gun anywhere. But got some pistol kills on some people, so that was fun.
Nice.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Love to hear it. Okay. As for me, I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact. I've been doing my best to tell anyone who has been playing it to try not to spend money on it, because that's how they get you. And it is heavy gotcha. It's a free-to-play game for anyone who's unaware about how that game works. And, I'm liking things and not liking things about it. Obviously.
So I've never played. So
Okay.
Is it like more story-driven, and that's how they get you? Or
It's more so like the characters that you unlock. The way that you unlock them is typically you have to basically buy loot boxes. I'm never a fan of loot boxes. I hate them. I wish they weren't a thing, but I also understand that for free-to-play games, it can get harder to make money on a game. And at least, so one of the good things about Genshin Impact is that like, there's a ton of content to get through, a ton of story stuff to get through. They're constantly making free updates available to you. So like, you don't have to focus on getting new characters. They give you a handful of them to like play around with, to do the basic things that you need to do in the game. So in that way, like they've set it up where you don't have to pay to do any of the like actual cool stuff in the game. It's just that you will definitely have more fun if you have those other characters that you can unlock using those wishes, which is the loot boxes and stuff. So the amount of content they have in it and the amount of like cross platform things they do for the game, and like it is very clear to me, even as an artist as well, like how much work they put into the game. Like that part is very clear to me. It just sucks that like they have so many like predatory, like gambling addiction style
practices.
things. So, you know, I'm not a developer. I just know from the perspective of someone who's an artist as well as someone who enjoys games, like that part of it sucks. But I also understand that money comes from somewhere. And to do all those free things they do for everybody, there has to be some way to supplement that. Maybe Tanya. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, do you think? And this is a question for both of you. Do you think any of that, like those predatory practices, will change? No, no. Like, do you think like
You cut out a little cipher? What were you saying?
I said not intervention.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
right. So not without an intervention. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like I mentioned before, games that are free to play that do stuff like that get a bit of a pass because like it is free and like it's up to the player to have self-control type of thing. But some people like just like mentally can't, if that's the way to put that. Like there are certain things that trigger uncontrollable urges to do things that they know, like scientifically, will do. So like certain sounds that will play or certain like visual stimulation that will happen when you do that thing. And for some people, that's like a thing that they just cannot help. So I'm trying to be realistic in saying like they know what they're doing. They know how to like trigger people's response to do something. But
I mean,
go ahead.
Because I always like the old one, right? So like the old mobile way, the old I think, well, not I think, but like Warframe still kind of does it where it's, you know, you gotta wait. Right? If you want it, you could get it immediately, or you gotta wait a couple of days. And that's how it used to be for a lot of the mobile games or whatever. Right? Like you could progress quickly right now, or you gotta wait till your, you know, thing like fills back up or whatever the case may be. So I used to like that about like the free to play games, and how they utilize that. But like nowadays, I feel like skins are expensive. Like $5 for a skin.
That's on the low end, bro.
like that's expensive, man. I don't know. Like for a skin,
a singular skin,
like $5-10 for a skin, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Like I can't even take that nowhere. Like that stays in game. Like I have to hope your game, you know, stays around long enough for me to like really be like, yeah, you know. But like, I mean, I'll pay for some characters or whatever the case may be. But like for a skin, like we're
the cosmetics.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think. Listen, I'm not a developer, so I don't.
I've paid for skins in games, so like I can't even say that I will never do it. But it was only for like a thing that I knew I really wanted, and like it was a premium skin. I knew I had to pay for it. But like, you know, Warframe, for example, the example you gave, I think they've probably got like the free to play model down. Like they figured out how to make everybody happy. Like if you want to pay money to like skip ahead for all this stuff, you can. But like otherwise, you can unlock all this shit for free.
That was one of my favorite models. You know, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not every game could do that. I'm fully aware.
Yeah.
Fully aware.
Yeah. So the last thing I had on here for the agenda was with regards to Square Enix. Oh yeah, but before we get to Square Enix, sorry, one more thing. Tanya, you mentioned Elden Ring earlier, and I'm obsessed with that game. Absolutely obsessed. I can't stop playing it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
it's.
I
so
need
good.
that in a sci-fi setting. That's what I need. I need that in a sci-fi setting.
They have a game called The Surge, which is
I played that,
yeah,
and
it's
you
different.
know what? That is very like.
It's
The
The Surge 2 is much better. I'll tell you that. The
Okay.
Surge 2 is a marked improvement. You will like that game.
I have that as well. I haven't got a chance to play that. I started playing the Surge 1 was a very interesting concept, though.
Yes.
Very interesting concept.
It's all about body parts and hitting this
But
area.
I like
Right, I'm
watching.
back,
y'all
but now I
play
can't hear
Elden
you.
Rings.
Oh no! Hold on.
1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. I like watching y'all play Elden Ring.
Yeah, oh man.
I don't know if it's something I would play.
You seen the bullshit I dealt with, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you
You,
serious?
Kesa. I'll watch y'all play that all day. 'Cause I don't think it's something. I don't know. I don't
You gotta
know.
watch how you play it too, because she be avoiding the bosses.
I don't know
back?
if I'm ready for that kind of commitment.
Yeah. Can you hear us now, Cypher? Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Technology. I love it, but goddamn, y'all be getting on my nerves.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, Elden Ring is an absolute, like, if you're okay with a little bit of pain, highly. Like I've probably got like 60 or 70 hours
There
into
we
the
go.
game, and I feel like I didn't scratch the
Oh,
surface.
you're there?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, my headphones went to sleep.
Oh, that's fun. That's always fun.
Yeah, they were like, "You ain't using us. Good night."
Yeah, I was just gushing about how much I also love Elden Ring.
I do love it. I still get a little frustrated, and I like streaming it, but it just gets tiring of people coming in and want to give you tips when you ain't asked for it.
They trying to backseat.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
the backseat
absolutely.
game. Yeah,
I feel like that would be one that people want to backseat because it's just so popular right now.
yeah.
Like I've noticed that people will be like, "Oh, well, why didn't you do this? And did you know you could do that?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm just trying to watch the stream. Like, why the hell?" And I don't want to be rude to someone in someone's stream, right? I don't want to be like, "Yo,
Be
shut the
rude.
hell up."
No, be rude. 'Cause I'll be like, "Who asked you?"
I'm a little more lenient than people. I'm like, oh well, I'm actually trying to
You're
do
too
a next.
nice.
I'm trying to do a
You need to
next
give
bill,
me
so why don't you shut the fuck up? No.
No, you need to just give me a sword. I'd be like, "But did he ask you though? Get the fuck out of this chat." Because No Man's Sky, I have streamed it exactly once, and that's got a high learning curve, and I knew that.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
But somebody came in and just started telling me how to do shit, and I was like, "I've been playing this for 30 minutes.
Give me a
This didn't
chance.
last a whole hour."
Yeah, that's when I have to get back into No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also DJ's fault.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, he actually got me interested in playing what is this damn game?
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because I have a matter of fact, because I bought this for Elite Dangerous.
The wholeness, you did it.
So I was watching the stream the other day. I was like, yo, and Elite Dangerous is like they're not supporting console right now, or whatever the case may be. So I was like, I'm looking for something new. And he's playing Star Citizen, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Like I want this.
Mm-hmm.
DJ has gotten he truly is being an influencer. I don't know how he feels about the word, but I'm like, dude, I bought Star Citizen.
Oh, yeah.
I bought Elite Dangerous.
Yep.
3D printer.
Right. No, he's a very what's the word? Infectious personality. So it's like
Mhm.
you see that joy in him, and you're like, I want to experience
Like,
joy.
You should get DJ on here.
Oh yes, we've actually, has he been on the Black Oni podcast before? I don't think he has either. We've, again, another person that I've collaborated with multiple times on multiple things. We even had the Chocolate Thunder podcast as a thing. I don't think I've had him on that show.
That's what it was. Because I was like, I thought I saw you on something, but it was the Chocolate Thunder. Yeah.
Yep. And there's I do miss that podcast. The only reason we aren't doing it now is because we can't settle on a name.
I thought Chocolate Thunder was the name.
So I'll just say Technique wants to change it because he wanted to do more with it, and sometimes people don't take you seriously when you have a silly name like Chocolate Thunder. And those are kind of his feelings about it, and I love it. Like, I think it's it's funny. It's also like unique, but going into it, it's like it's about to be some chocolatey people telling us some cool shit, and they're gonna bring the thunder. Like, that's that's just it.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I don't know. But yeah, let's look at the Square Enix, because this bombshell of them selling off all their shit aside from their Japanese division was like,
yeah, I didn't see this one coming at all.
So
neither did I.
For those unaware of the situation, Square Enix sold off Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and pretty much all of their Western studios to Embracer Group. So games like Guardians of the Galaxy, games like Tomb Raider, games like Deus Ex, Hitman, Avengers. Well, they didn't specifically say Avengers in the title and the story, but Marvel and Crystal Dynamics are the ones who are working on that. So,
right.
And they sold it for, what was it, 300 million or something like that, which is like,
I don't remember the price point.
Super low for.
I think it was 300. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like Sony bought Bungie for like what was it, 3 billion? 3 billion. I was like, wait, what's happening here? This is not enough, because y'all got these blockbuster titles that are making money, and like IP that's been in resting stage, like Legacy of Kain, and what was the other one I was thinking of? They got a lot of stuff. So I'm kind of glad that they did this, because I feel like Square Enix has been spreading themselves thin for a while now. But I'm also like, what's going on over there where you had to sell this stuff at a loss?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just the Lara Croft franchise is like 300.
Right. Alone, at least.
Just because how that franchise is so transmedia.
Right.
It's not just video games. They've done movies, they've done novels, they've done comics. They've done Halloween costumes, like
right.
They've done it. So
cosplay, yeah. It's not like it's some small thing maybe two people heard of. It's like a legacy of gaming.
So I mean, that in and of I would have assumed that would have at least close in there, right? But what I've always wanted to know when I was going to get a next Deus Ex. That's my thing.
Yeah,
really. A next Deus Ex, and then IO was planning to do, and I don't know if they're still gonna be able to do it or not. They were planning to do a James Bond. They announced it. They were working on it. They were it's been at least 2 years since they announced that. So I don't know if it's because of that Amazon MGM deal or if it's going to be this deal. If they're still going to be able to move forward, because they've done an incredible job with Hitman. So to have a James Bond would have been really interesting.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, but also like let's see what new things they could do with those studios.
Yeah, maybe with more of a focus, from them. Like I've talked about Avengers many times on this channel, on this podcast. I feel like I'm the poster child for Avengers at this point, but like the amount of potential that project has and has had for a long time is like staggering. And I know for a fact if they have the resources to like do all the things they know they need to do to fix it, it would have already been done. And I don't know what's going to happen with this acquisition. Like, if they're just going to be like, all right, this license costs too much for Marvel, so we're just dropping this whole shit. Like, I can see that being a thing because Marvel.
I feel like Marvel licenses are expensive.
Yeah.
I feel like they would be expensive.
To say the least. And like, it would only benefit Marvel if they could actually like let them just do the shit. Because they performed below their sales mark for not only the Avengers but for Guardians of the Galaxy. Which from Guardians, I haven't played it yet, but I kept hearing from everybody who played it that it was phenomenal.
Yeah, everyone says that one is solid.
Yeah.
But what did they compare it to? Like, did they compare it to Spider-Man sales, or?
I think they compared it to what their sales expectations were based on how much they spent to make it.
Okay.
Oh, hi.
Oh, welcome back.
There we go.
Yeah, the internet was fake out. It was like, here's your 10 minutes, lol.
Oh my God. They won't let you be great.
Nope, sure won't.
Well, what are your thoughts on the Square Enix acquisition and the studios under it and what that means and why and how?
I have no idea of the why. Like audio, I did not see it coming at all.
Right.
And I'm concerned because as y'all were talking, I'm like, it feels like they just had a fire sale of all these franchises.
Right.
Like, what's going on? That y'all just dump these major, and in the case of like, Tomb Raider, 25-year-old franchise.
That you just let go. That you just let go.
That's like the employee that you're only getting rid of them so you can get that money back because you paid them too much.
Right. But
they're
like
that employee, but they make too much money for the bottom line.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Tomb Raider makes them a lot of money.
Yeah. Listen, to the point where I wish I had me a company. I wish I could have got me a loan.
Right.
Like, I would have been like, I'd have hit you up like, yo, if we known, let's see if we could get this loan and buy us some Tomb Raider real quick.
I ain't buying that shit yesterday. Like, what do you mean?
For that.
I mean, if I could get the money and buy Activision and get rid of Bobby Kotick in a very public way, I'd do it.
Oh, yes. That would be worth it just to do that. Just to get rid of that motherfucker. Oh, that infuriates me in so many ways.
Well, but it's interesting to watch all these people that were all fuck Blizzard. Oh, but I see you playing Overwatch 2 demo.
Ain't it?
It's like, guess that only went so far, huh?
Views, though.
I gotta sleep at night.
Yeah. And even so, like I for the sake of some kind of semblance of trying to understand how and why Overwatch 2 exists, I like watched some footage of the beta and I was just like, so it's Overwatch, but you added a campaign mode to it.
Yeah, I've seen stills and it looks the same. So I was like, am I really gonna click on it? Like, I don't know. I was never an Overwatch person for real. So
I love Overwatch.
I mean, I'm a very casual person. I've got some merch, but I've also got friends who worked on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the, at least for like Overwatch and Diablo 4, whenever it's out, it's that we know the company as an entity ain't shit,
Mm-hmm.
but goes back to there are human beings who make the game that ain't did nothing wrong.
That part.
That still got to get up and go to work while their whole office life is scrutinized in the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my buddy who's on Diablo 4, because somebody's like, well, why don't you just quit? Because he's like, I'd have to literally leave the country.
Right.
I'm on a visa.
Right. And beyond that, just quitting is a little bit harder for some people depending on what their financial situation is.
Right.
Like I've even known people, myself included, who have been hired or commissioned or worked on some like crazy products, phenomenal stuff. But when it comes to like getting another job outside of a very specific thing, it can become very difficult because then you get kind of pigeonholed into that. And
yeah.
And there's
but
another.
People want.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
There's another layer to it that a lot of people don't fully understand as well, where there are sometimes NDAs that are written that lock you into a situation where you're screwed if you do, screwed if you don't type of thing. But it's way worse if you go against this NDA or go against this particular group of people.
Or even contracts that won't allow you to make moves to other studios.
Yeah.
Right. For a finite amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in this climate right now, too, just the way prices are going up, it's very difficult to sit here and say, yeah, I'm gonna quit something.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to take
my whole family's relying on this income.
Right, for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but it's also the moral purity test of how dare you work for evil company.
Right.
I get that a lot with D&D because there are people who hate Wizards of the Coast, and I'm like, cool. Here's my PayPal. You gonna make up that money I'd make if I stopped doing all these shows?
Right. A lot of people don't realize too that a surprising number of companies who have become successful have done so at the expense of some really fucked up shit.
Oh, I mean, it's usually those higher companies too, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like we also just need people to remember that companies ain't your friend; it'll never be your friend.
Mm-hmm. Right. There are people in those companies that will be your friend, but not the company entity as a whole.
Right, like I got a lot of friends who work at Twitch, but I will. You ain't gonna catch me out here talking about bleed purple.
Oh my god! Oh,
yeah, I said it.
No, you said it, and it's resonating so much because I'm sure many of you who are on Twitch here understand and know like what leaked and what got found out about what they're planning to do with partner contracts and with their platform. Basically, TLDR. More ads for y'all to watch through, even if you are subscribed. Less money for creators because they're getting rid of any of their 70-30 split contracts and going all to 50-50. And the one good thing is that they're trying to they're possibly getting rid of their exclusivity clause, which is honestly, it's better for Twitch that they do that in general because based on the data that I've seen, viewership on Twitch has gone down over the last 3 years, like significantly.
Well, two things. That one, once they get rid of that exclusivity, a lot of people are going to jump ship if they can go to YouTube. I feel like they're going to jump. And the people that do have those 70-30 splits, if they can go to YouTube and get a contract, it's not just going to be Lupo and Tim the Tap Man jumping.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Because, like, while Twitch is not the main source of my income, it's a part of my income.
Mm-hmm. And to take 30% out of that, depending on what the split is between you and Twitch, like, that's significant.
Yeah, but I read that article, and it's posited like everybody gets 70-30 and a very small number of people get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this split isn't going to affect like almost all the streamers. It's going to be that small majority that does have a 70-30.
Which they will likely, a lot of the other contracts from other competing streaming platforms are non-exclusive. So what they might end up doing is signing a contract with YouTube or Facebook Gaming and still make content on Twitch. Except now more people are going to be aware that they also make content on Twitch. So I hear what you're saying, though, because it means like, all right, some people might get into exclusive contracts with them because now they can. But
right. Or it's going to be like, oh, YouTube's going to give me X amount every month as long as I stream so many number of hours, no matter what I do. And I know I got a paycheck. Deuces.
Right. I almost feel like Amazon is trying to get rid of Twitch.
You think so?
They haven't been making money off of Twitch.
No, I know that.
While it does make them a lot of money, I mean, we all have had viewership drops.
Oh yeah.
No matter what the content is.
Oh yeah, everyone has. It's been noticeable. It's been wild.
So if I can get some fresh eyes on my content on YouTube and I can do so and double dip, or even, I can stream to 2 platforms at once and YouTube pays me better, I might think about it. But I've also got like a whole RPG show I got to think about. So not everybody can just jump ship, just not like everybody can leave Twitter.
Right.
Because that's where I do most of my business or get most of my connections.
Right. Ooh, it's some real interesting times we live in right now. I'll tell you that right now. It is. It is wild, but it is time. We've been podcasting for a while here. I want to respect both of y'all's times, but I feel like there was more that we could talk about, but I feel like this is a good way to wrap it up. Before I let y'all go, my only request is that you let the fine folks back at home or in their car or wherever they are listening or watching this, let them know where they can find you. So let's start with you, Tanya.
I'm everywhere online as Cypher of Tyr, CYPHEROFTYR. May 29th at 12 p.m. Central. Rebels of Waterdeep comes back for our 13th season. Sheree Jackson is our DM. And if you like horror in your D&D, on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Central, leading into Critical Role, Black Dice Society. I'm on there. DJ Knight is on there. Mark Meir, the voice of Commander Shepard. And B. Dave Walters is our DM. And we've got some guests, Jason Carl, who works at Renegade, who puts out Vampire the Masquerade. We've got Becca Scott, Sage Ryan, and Nora Ibrahim. And that is Thursdays, every Thursday, unless something happens or we're traveling for 3 hours. And then whenever my internet acts right, hopefully, probably tomorrow, I'll try to get in some more Citizen Sleeper, or if I can get my office in one piece, maybe stream some more 3D printing.
Nice, I like it. And once again, let me know how your cannibalist adventures go tonight.
Yeah, it'll have to be a text message though.
Yes. Audio lover, where can they go to find more of you?
Hold on. But I didn't hear none of this Into the Motherlands.
Oh, what was it?
Into the Motherlands right now. We are on hold until we get info from Twitch for more stream show. But while we were live, our art director, Pleasantly Twisted, put an update out. So go if you can check out on Kickstarter.
Hey,
perfect. There we go.
Loved it. A perfect timing. Wow.
All right. I am the Audio Lover. You can find me at the Audio Lover on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I make content on YouTube as well as Twitch about gaming, GTA, PS5, and Stargate. So yeah, definitely Stargate. Definitely a lot of Stargate. You're gonna find a lot of Stargate on my YouTube here on out, people, because I just love Stargate. But also about gaming as well. So yeah, just hit me up. The Audio Lover, a living organism vibrantly expressing reality. Shout out to the BTC. Love y'all.
Yes. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here and for sharing your insight, wisdom, and time with this community. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, and this is a great way to get back into it. So I'm really happy with how today's show went. And
Number 100.
yes, 100th episode. We got to have Cypher of Tier on for that. So I'm really happy about that. And make sure you all go follow them. Give them your love and support in everything that they do. And I will catch you all on the next podcast, which, if all goes well, will be next Thursday. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And end.